A small plane recently went down in a fiery crash near Lancaster Airport. Air traffic control audio revealed a critical issue moments before impact, shedding light on what may have led to the terrifying incident. On March 9th, an aircraft carrying 5 people crashed in Manheim Township, Lancaster County, on Sunday afternoon, sending emergency crews rushing to the scene. The plane, called Beechcraft Bonanza, went down near Lancaster Airport, with air traffic control audio revealing a critical detail moments before impact. The recording captured the pilot informing ground controllers about an issue. A door had come open mid-flight, prompting an urgent request to return to Lancaster Airport. As the wind roared through the open door, the pilot informed controllers that he could not clearly hear radio transmissions. Despite the communication difficulties, he still requested clearance to land on runway 26. Moments later, the aircraft went down. The controller's urgent call for the plane to pull up were quickly followed by an emergency request for first responders following a grim confirmation. The aircraft is down just behind the terminal in the parking lot tree area. The crash occurred at approximately 3:18 p.m. in the parking lot of Brethren Village, a retirement community located just 2 streets from the airport. The impact damaged several parked cars, but no buildings were struck, and miraculously, no one on the ground was injured. All 5 people on board, however, were hurt and transported to the hospital, though their conditions were not immediately disclosed. Dramatic footage captured the aftermath of the crash, showing the Beechcraft A-36TC engulfed in flames, with thick black smoke billowing through the air. The crash triggered a fiery inferno, causing multiple adjacent vehicles to burst into flames between Fairview Drive and Meadowview Court. The tail of the plane, brandishing the code N347M, could be seen wedged against the wreckage of parked cars. Medics, ambulances, and emergency personnel rushed to the scene in Lancaster County as flames consumed the aircraft and nearby vehicles. Fire Chief Scott Little, who also serves as the emergency management coordinator, stated that first responders arrived within 2 minutes of the crash. They encountered a devastating scene: a small plane and at least 5 cars in flames. Authorities confirmed that the plane had been en route to Springfield Beckley Municipal Airport in Ohio before the emergency unfolded. Witnesses described the terrifying moments leading up to the crash. One onlooker, Brian Pipkin, recalled watching the aircraft struggle in the sky. It was pretty high, but then it started veering left, and suddenly it nosedived sideways while continuing to turn left, he said. Pipkin rushed to the scene, where he saw flames engulfing the cockpit. He described the intense heat as feeling like opening an oven set to 500 degrees when you open the door and it hits your face. He added, "I was getting closer, praying to God that nothing would blow up." Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro acknowledged the incident, stating that state police and other resources were assisting in the response. He wrote on X, "Our team at PA State Police is on the ground assisting local first responders following the small private plane crash near Lancaster Airport in Manheim Township. All Commonwealth resources are available as the response continues, and more information will be provided as it becomes available. The fact that we have a plane crash where everybody survives and nobody on the ground is hurt is a wonderful thing," Manheim Township Police Chief Dwayne Fisher said. "Anytime you have transportation, you always have risk when people are moving, but having this type of ending so far is a great day for us," he added. The National Transportation Safety Board and the Federal Aviation Administration have launched an investigation into the crash. Officials have yet to release further details on the condition of those aboard, but the incident serves as a stark reminder of the potential dangers of air travel and the importance of emergency preparedness. This harrowing event comes after a tumultuous start to the year for the aviation industry. A plane crash near Washington, D.C. drew national attention. marking the most significant commercial aviation disaster in the United States since 2009. Officials indicated rescue efforts were slower than expected due to extreme cold. American Airlines Flight 5342, a PSA Airlines-operated Bombardier Sarge 700, collided with a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter near Reagan National Airport on January 29th. According to the Federal Aviation Administration, the aircraft had been en route from Wichita, Kansas, when the incident occurred. The plane was scheduled to land around 9 p.m., but its approach was cut short when D.C. police received emergency calls at 8:53 p.m. reporting an aircraft crash above the Potomac River. Defense officials stated that the Black Hawk was conducting a training mission at the time. Stationed at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, the 12th Aviation Battalion specializes in helicopter transport and technical rescue operations for the National Capital Region. However, the helicopter's departure location before the crash was yet to be determined. The crash disrupted air traffic, diverting 19 flights to Dulles International Airport. With Reagan National among the nation's busiest airspaces, coordination was critical. Air traffic controllers had instructed the helicopter to maneuver around the approaching jet just before the collision. The pilot confirmed visual contact and requested separation. Seconds later, recordings captured shocked reactions from the control tower as routine communication turned to disaster. A video recorded by EarthCam appeared to capture the moment of impact, showing the aircraft and helicopter colliding in the sky before erupting into flames. The mid-air collision was witnessed by several onlookers, including Ari Schulman, who observed the aircraft's final moments while driving home. Initially, the plane appeared normal as it neared land, flying approximately 120 feet above the water. Moments later, it banked sharply beyond 90 degrees. Schulman recalled, "I could see the underside of it. It was lit up a very bright yellow, and there was a stream of sparks underneath it. Shortly after, the sky went dark." According to the Federal Aviation Administration, Reagan National Airport would stay closed until at least Friday at 5 a.m., with all flights suspended as the investigation continued. After the wreckage, emergency crews turned their efforts to locating survivors. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser confirmed that both aircraft are in the water and that 64 people were aboard the American Airlines plane, while 3 were in the military helicopter. "The focus now is rescuing people," she stated, emphasizing the urgency of search and rescue operations. Authorities had reportedly not confirmed any casualties at the time of writing, leaving families in limbo. "There are people at the airport who were there to pick up loved ones," said Metropolitan Washington Airport's Authority CEO Jack Potter. He noted that families had been directed to the designated support center, where counselors were available to assist them. Among them was Hamid Raza, who lost contact with his wife moments before the crash. "I'm just praying that someone is pulling her out of the river right now," he stated in an interview. Per reports, several U.S. figure skating community members were on board. Kansas Senator Jerry Moran called the tragedy a very personal circumstance for his state, noting the deep connections many have to those on the flight. Meanwhile, details regarding recovery efforts and the ongoing investigation remained undisclosed, with the National Transportation Safety Board set to lead the inquiry. As rescue crews worked against time, footage captured the intensity of their efforts. D.C. resident Abadi Ismail recorded a video showing helicopters flying over the Potomac River, their searchlights scanning the crash site. "I heard 2 unusual bangs, something I've never heard of," said Ismail, describing the noise as something that kind of sounded like a war zone. Rushing to his window, he initially saw only a faint trace of smoke. As search teams mobilized, the scene quickly transformed. "Rescue helicopters and boats have now lit up the area," he divulged. As families waited anxiously for news, search teams worked in treacherous conditions to locate possible survivors. Nearly 300 first responders were navigating darkness, strong winds, and near-freezing temperatures in the Potomac River, making rescue efforts increasingly difficult. It's a highly complex operation. The conditions out there are extremely rough, said DC Fire and EMS Chief John Donnelly. He further noted that access to the site was a major challenge. According to him, the water was approximately 8 feet deep, with strong winds and floating ice, making conditions hazardous. With river temperatures near 35 degrees Fahrenheit, the risk of hypothermia was high. Cold shock can cause gasping and hyperventilation within seconds, while dexterity loss can occur in 3 minutes. Unconsciousness may follow within 15 to 30 minutes, with survival times ranging from 30 to 90 minutes, indicating the urgency of the operation. With the search underway, the FBI's Washington Field Office Dive Team joined recovery efforts, with specialized agents from the Underwater Search and Evidence Response Team, USARD, navigating the challenging conditions of the Potomac River. The plane crash marked the first major U.S. commercial aviation disaster since 2009, when Colgan Air Flight 3407 crashed near Buffalo, claiming 49 lives. Other deadly incidents include the 2013 Asiana Airlines crash in San Francisco, which left 3 dead and nearly 200 injured, and a 2018 Southwest Airlines incident where a passenger died after an engine failure. The accident left communities across the region seeking solace and unity during this difficult time. A city prayer vigil to support those affected was scheduled for January 30th at noon in the Wichita City Council chambers. Aviation incidents like these highlight the unpredictable dangers pilots can face, from mechanical failures to sudden in-flight emergencies. While air travel remains one of the safest modes of transportation, crashes serve as stark reminders of the risks involved.